Hi you guys, it's Marci Sauter, the Rusty Blonde. We are coming back today with Crissy and the last couple weeks of what she's experienced during her VSG recovery and all of that. So, we'll start out with your stats.
Okay, well, I am, as of Thursday, 4 weeks post-op. As usual, it's been an adventure. I am down 30 pounds from the beginning. Started at 269. I am at 239, exactly. So 30 pounds, and just kind of working through it.
Yeah. So let's start off kind of at the beginning of the 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because she has kind of been through hell and back. Yeah.
So the last video we did, Marci was trying to help me quantify the liquid intake and the food intake that I was getting because I didn't feel like I was doing it correctly. I wasn't getting enough nutrients in. I was having a really hard time. I could only take maybe 5 or 6 ounces a day. I really wasn't getting enough at all. And I was still having issues where I vomited quite a few times. So eventually I became dehydrated. I probably went about 10 days without nutrients, with any liquids or anything that I took. Forget about food. It was all liquids at that point. And anything I tried to ingest came up and then some.
Yeah.
So when I made a follow-up appointment with my doctor, my surgeon. I went to my surgeon and I told him that I was having these issues, that anything that I was having, not only was I vomiting that liquid up, but it seemed like much more than what I had ingested. He said approximately 1 to 12% of patients experience a syndrome where their stomach, once it's removed, does not know how to move food through. So it keeps you with a feeling of perpetually full, where you're not getting any nutrients, you're not ingesting anything, but you feel like you can't take any more.
Right, and we're talking like 1 or 2 sips of water, and then it would cause this to happen.
Yes.
So extreme dehydration.
Extreme.
And
so when he saw me at the office, he ordered an endoscopy so that he could take a look and find out what was going on exactly, but his presumption was that I was of the 1 to 12% where the stomach wasn't working, it wasn't moving food through. So he prescribed a drug, a generic for something called Reglan. Reglan was to get my stomach contents moving and get digestion going so that I could start getting some nutrients. Unfortunately, when I started taking the Reglan, it got worse instead of better, because the Reglan was forcing it through my stomach to digest. And what we didn't know at that time is I also had an ulcer that had developed as a consequence of the surgery. One of the wonderful side effects that you can have. And unfortunately, because it was hitting that ulcer, nothing was absorbing, I wasn't getting anything, and then I was vomiting even more. So I stopped taking the Reglan. I called up my sister in Michigan, who's a nurse, a very smart nurse. She should be a doctor. She's amazing. Probably saved me.
She did.
Shout out, Shelly Haddon. Love you.
Yes, she did.
Forever. Thank you. And she said to do this with your hand.
So pinch her skin.
And I pinched my skin and it stayed up. It just stayed up like a row. And she said, you're dehydrated, go to the ER immediately. They need to at least get fluids in there, and then they'll contact your surgeon and find out what needs to be done.
I have to tell you, she had called her surgeon multiple times about just being extremely thirsty, not being able to take in liquids, and
the vomiting.
Yes, all of that.
Begging for
help.
An appointment, for a follow-up, for an endoscopy, anything. I could have been in serious trouble before they ever got back to me. So thank God my sister...
Well, she was in serious trouble.
I was, because when I got there, they told me that it had started, the dehydration started to impact my kidneys. I had gone a long time with barely any food or liquid or anything.
And think about it. You have to have water to survive.
Yeah.
You have to. And And taking into consideration the tiny sips, the very few sips of liquid and water she was getting in, basically kidney failure, that was her body starting to shut down.
Yeah.
Is what that was.
I was in trouble. And I called her up. I was sobbing. I was a mess. I was like, I can't take this anymore. What have I done to myself? I was like, I can't believe I did this surgery thinking it would make me healthier, and now I feel like I'm dying. This is awful. I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't do anything. It was a horror story for sure. Then I went to the emergency room. They gave me, through IV, 2 liters of fluids. And I called the surgeon's office.
That was after you got discharged.
After I got discharged and I got all the liquids, and I had to argue with the surgeon's office to get an endoscopy scheduled right now. And
she had already been told she was going to get one. When
I visited his office, he told the girl specifically, schedule an endoscopy. The next day I was in the emergency room. No endoscopy was scheduled. The next day when I got out, I was trying to call her to find out when I was going to have this endoscopy, and she said she could schedule me one for Friday afternoon.
Yeah, unacceptable.
That was after she told me no food or drink after midnight, and I found that hilarious. I was like, I just got out of the ER for dehydration. So you're asking me to go over 12 hours without liquid again after I was just hydrated.
Crazy.
And she said, that is correct. I said,
have
the surgeon call me. So he called me. I expressed all of this to him and almost lopped his head off because he said, well, if you feel you need to, then just come back to the emergency room and we will hydrate you again before the endoscopy. And I said, why would I pay another ER visit bill when I shouldn't have to go through that? And he said, what do you want me to do? I said, I want you to get me in. I want you to get me an endoscopy. I want to find out what's going on now.
And it took her fighting for herself.
And I just barely had the strength to do it. It was insane. But obviously, if I didn't give up fighting for 2 years to get the surgery, I'm not going to give up after all of that. So finally we get the endoscopy and we find out there's an ulcer there. I don't think that's all. I really feel the difference between how I was before and my inability to get down liquids and the difference between how much I can ingest in liquids now is night and day. He told me specifically he did not have to widen the opening to my stomach. I feel like, number one, he didn't have to tell me that specifically if he didn't.
Right.
Why even mention it at all? But number two, yes, he did. There's no way, because I still have the ulcer. It's not cured. It won't be cured for a month of taking this medicine. But I'm having a much easier time drinking. I can eat foods now. Before I couldn't. Something drastic has changed in between that endoscopy and now.
Yeah.
And I thank God it did. But I wish I knew what it was.
Yeah.
Because it definitely was not expressed to me what it was.
Yeah.
So there are some pitfalls to this journey, unfortunately. Since then, I have been drinking like crazy, slowly incorporating foods. Drinking's a lot easier than food stuff. I still have issues with digestion, so the Reglan may be in order once the ulcer is better. But the ulcer is not better yet. I just take the medication they tell me to take to cure the ulcer, get the bacteria or whatever it is out of there.
So maybe it's helping a little bit now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. They say it could take a month to 2 months to heal an ulcer.
I do think this ulcer was a big part of it, and it should have been caught. It should have been caught a couple weeks ago.
Well, I think more than that, it was something to do with the opening. I
Yeah.
think there was a problem because, like I said, I never could have gotten anything close to this.
No.
Not in an entire day. I remember you were
Yeah,
concerned
no, it was
because
crazy.
an 11-ounce shake, I was maybe eating that much
No,
of.
it was bad.
And I was trying to do as much
And I was
protein.
really worried. I kept saying,
She didn't
I
show
can't
it,
believe
but yeah.
they didn't do a leak test and,
Mhm, yeah,
you
she
know, all
thought.
of that. And I don't know, maybe it's because when you do it in Mexico, they have to make sure you are 100% before you get on the plane and leave. But they did the leak test. But I told her in Mexico, I'll never forget it. The day after surgery, we all got in their van and they took us downtown and we were shopping for a couple hours. So, and
You
she
know-
was barely moving, you
No,
guys.
the day
Barely
after,
moving
I was in
around.
so much pain.
Well, and they held you an
They
extra
held
day.
me an extra day, and I mean, I was getting major pain medication every 2 hours,
Yeah.
not every 4. If that's not an indication that something's wrong,
Right.
I don't know what is. And you, the next day, were walking around.
Yeah.
To me, I
No,
couldn't
it
get
was-
out of my bed.
Right.
And I was having burning, my stomach burned like it was on fire.
Like for days.
Yes.
For days.
Over a week.
Weeks.
Yeah, because
It was bad.
it was bad. There was something wrong. The point of all of this is, usually when you have a procedure, it's a new experience for you. So you have no idea what's normal, what's not normal. I'm lucky. I had a friend who had gone through it, who knew what her normal was. It doesn't necessarily mean that would be my normal. But when these things started to come together, it became clearer and clearer to me that my situation was not normal. I was not healing normally. I was not eating or drinking normally. There was a problem and it needed to be resolved.
Well, and 2 weeks ago, she was done. Like, it was miserable for her.
Mhm.
Miserable. I mean, to the point where she's thinking, why in the hell did I even do this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I was
So
very
it-
upset. Like, how could I have done this to myself?
Yeah.
Why, I thought I checked everything thoroughly.
Yeah, so you guys should tell us down below if any of you have experienced and gone through the VSG surgery, like if you had ulcers or if this has happened to you. But I don't ever remember feeling super dehydrated, or I just remember like having the withdrawals of eating food, or my pain came from because I took too big of a bite or I ate too much at one time. That was my pain versus what I was taking in, not just taking a sip and having this fire burning pain all of the time.
Yeah.
So
Or
we're
vomiting
just trying,
it.
and then vomiting. We never experienced that too. Unless, again, I drank too much water and was trying to flush down food, which you're not supposed to do, and then it was just literally the water just not going down and coming back up. But I never have
I've experienced
the
that.
throw up.
Yeah.
Did you? Isn't
I
it so
experienced-
weird the
it's so
first
weird.
time?
So this is so gross, so look away if you don't want to hear this, but I was recently introduced to black cod, which is an amazing fish. Fish seems to sit really well. It's really, very benign. It's, it's soft and it's not, acidy or anything like that. It's just really good. So that was one of the first things I was actually able to eat, and I got really excited and a little overzealous, and I probably had a bite too much, and I dropped something on the floor, and I went to bend over, and it wasn't like vomiting, it just came out. I was like, oh, okay, there goes that. But then after that happened, then I vomited. Then I was like, oh, that's gross. So you have to be careful. Because I don't get those telltale signs that you used to get, like, oh, I feel it right here,
Oh.
really full. I don't get those painful things either.
So that's good to know too.
Yeah, so I have to stop after I've had, I can't eat as much as my palm yet. I can't eat
Yeah, and
that
that's good.
I'm about maybe half of my palm
Okay.
at this point. But I haven't graduated yet to nuts fruits or vegetables yet. I still have to stick to the soft, mushy stuff like that. So I've been having chicken breast, mush it into like sawdust practically, and maybe put it in some mashed potatoes or something, which you probably shouldn't have. Mashed potatoes are not the greatest for you. But
well, it's not even that. Does it sit well with you, mashed potatoes?
Yeah, but not as good. I don't feel as light and as good as I do when I have like cottage cheese. Like the 1% milk fat cottage cheese that's like low dairy or whatever. I have cottage cheese with chicken and I feel, or fish, and I feel great. I feel like I've fueled my body. I feel like I can go do stuff. And that's good. And you can tell the difference. And I'll keep going back to Marci's advice. She said from the beginning, listen to your body.
Yeah.
Listen to your body. Because I never listened to my body before. When you fuel your body correctly with the right things, you feel energized.
Yeah.
You feel like you can actually do stuff. When you fuel your body with the garbage that I was fueling myself with all the time, ice cream, chips, chocolate, oh my God.
But I'm sure, Crissy, a lot of people can relate to that.
Oh,
you know.
Man, I loved that stuff.
Yeah,
I loved
I
it.
did too.
I would pick bad over good every time. But the moral of this story is listen to your body and look for warning signs. And not...
And fight for yourself like she did. Oh my gosh.
I had to get in there, and instead of, I don't know if I ever closed the loop on this story, but instead of getting the endoscopy on Friday, the doctor did bump it up.
Yeah.
And he got me in that same day, which was Thursday.
Yep.
He had me come straight to St. Luke's, and you picked me up.
Yeah.
Marci came and picked me up and brought me home. She saw what a mess I was.
Yeah.
I mean, geez, I was.
Oh, and this was like
mess.
black and purple.
My gosh,
this looked so painful.
And there were bruises here.
Yeah, there was
bruises here. This is the
she
one
looked
that's
like
left.
she had been abused for the last
Or doing
day.
drugs.
Yeah,
I mean, it looked like I stuck a bunch of needles in my arms. But yeah, the moral of the story is fight for yourself. Know what's not right. I mean, if you're not able to get down what it takes to be hydrated or nourished by your own body, then something's wrong. But I'm grateful. We're still going to live our lives in gratitude, right?
Right.
What's our gratitude? Grateful that my sister was there for me. Marci was there for me. My husband's been there for me. I am able to ingest liquids. I'm slowly but surely able to take in food and stuff. This is still a success story. At this point, I've lost 30 pounds. I'm still at 30 pounds, which...
She's worried about that.
I'm kind of worried.
And you guys can share your stories down below as well, but I know stalls happen. And I tell her, look at, if you guys have not gone back and see the other videos, go back and look at them, watch them, listen to them, learn from them. It's been a struggle, and this ulcer thing should have been caught forever ago. But
yeah.
It's just kind of maddening to think that it just got put off and put off and put off, and not by her.
But so grateful.
You know, so.
Yeah, that this is the end result. We're here, we're talking about it, we're helping to spread awareness to other people who might need it. And even if it's not this situation with an ulcer, or not this situation where your opening wasn't quite large enough, whatever happens to be the case, if you're struggling for whatever reason, fight for yourself, get someone that's close to you to maybe get on your bandwagon for you. I mean, it needs to be done. No one's perfect, including surgeons. No one's perfect, including doctors. So, you know, we are the ones that are responsible for ourselves. So we need to do that. But I am disappointed. I'm disappointed that I'm grateful and disappointed. It's bittersweet. I'm 30 pounds down. Gratitude. I feel better. I feel like I can move better. I'm much more active. I do a lot more things. I'm disappointed because I'm still 30 pounds down. I haven't moved.
It's been a couple weeks.
It's been a couple weeks now. I thought for sure that I would. I haven't been eating a lot. I haven't been drinking a lot. I've been trying to eat and drink the right things, the things that still work for me and yet are still healthy, like fish, chicken breast, not even the dark meat of chicken. and still trying to get some fat in, because you need fat for brain cells. I do start back to work next week.
Yeah.
So that'll be a good challenge to see how I do there. Active all day long. I will be sitting at a desk, but I will have to concentrate on things other than what my next meal is, or what I'll be doing. So I guess we'll be talking more then, and how that transition is, and hopefully we'll see some movement on the scale.
Yeah. But I also told her that the scale, we kind of obsess over it because that's the only thing. Like when you look at yourself each day, it's very hard to look at yourself every day in the mirror and see the changes. But I can see it. I can see it, and especially because we're filming these videos, and she hasn't seen any of them yet. She's gonna wait until later. But you can definitely tell a difference, and I'm sure you guys can too. But I told her to try not to focus on the scale and focus on all the other small victories she's had, because it's all a part of the journey, and her journey is going to be different from everybody else's. So
and only a month in, so I guess I need to cut myself some slack a little bit. 30 days, 30 pounds. Okay, that's still good.
It's amazing.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Thank you guys. Sorry if any of this was boring or long. I just want to thank people for listening, and I just hope it helps someone.
Yeah, it will. It will for sure. So anyways, you guys, thank you for joining us today, and we will continue doing this video series on Crissy's journey and letting you guys know all the ins and outs of her experience.
Drama.
Yeah.
Drama.
All right, you guys, thanks so much for joining us. Bye.
Bye.